Hi guys, hello and welcome. I'm Daniel Plant and this is Be More Bear. Now we're back for another episode with the 2.5 Suzuki. It's been a while since we did the last video and in all honesty I'd pretty much given up on it. Now I said in the last video, I was very clear that I'd fixed it. The trouble is with bodge fixes is that they're never really fixed, and because of that it hasn't been used since. So I've been having a bit of an epiphany with regard to my boats, the outboard motors and all the toys that we've got. The trouble is with the 2.5 is it doesn't really fit into my lineup. I don't know when I'd use it. I might use it on a river, but I don't really intend on going to the river. In the state it's in at the moment, I don't feel in good conscience that I can sell it. And put bluntly, I can't. I can't sell this to somebody and say it is a good motor when it's not. Somebody will get in trouble with it. And I don't feel comfortable with that. So I either keep it and I use it myself, or I keep it and I don't use it, in which case that's a complete waste. The obvious thing is to fix it. So today we're going to try using an ultrasonic cleaner. Now this was suggested by somebody that had watched one of the videos. I think it was the very first one. They said put it in an ultrasonic cleaner, and I was very skeptical. They're pretty expensive. I think the one I've bought is £82. What we'll do is we'll get the hood off, we'll take the carb off and then try and clean this carb up. And that this motor is not running right is the idle jet. I am 110% sure the idle jet in the carb it's bunged up. I suspect it's had old fuel in it, it's varnished up, it's just, they're so tiny. I can't get in there with a piece of wire or anything. I've tried, it just won't have it. I've tried running it hard to try and shake with vibration, shake it free, it won't do it. The only option we have is the ultrasonic cleaner. I thank everyone for their suggestions of meddling with the idle screw. I may or may not have done that. Again, it didn't work. So last ditch attempt, in order to get this ready for sale, ultrasonic cleaner. Okay guys, so for people that have seen the other two episodes, you don't need to know any of what I'm going to tell you now. But for those that haven't, a link is up here. However, air intake, carburetor. If you want to know how to disassemble the carburetor, I suggest you perhaps take a quick look at the videos up here. And that should tell you everything you need to know how to get a carburetor off one of these motors. But for everybody else, and here it is. Carburetor off the motor. Only took literally 10 seconds. Okay, so hopefully you can see in here. But these are all the different bits of the carburetor. So you've got multiple jets in there, the rubber gaskets, just everything. I've disassembled it completely. So I've disassembled it completely, and this is the body of the carburetor. Bowl, flap, throttle flap gone, all the jets, air jets, fuel jets are out. Now I'm not going into huge detail about how I've done it, there is another video on that, but what I'm going to do now is just put the main body of the carburetor into the ultrasonic cleaner. All I need to do now is fill this with water, a little bit of fairy liquid, that's what I'm going with to start with, and then set it. Okay, it's getting a little bit dark now, but as you can see, ultrasonic cleaner is full of soapy suds. The lid goes on. This isn't the best quality. There's something not quite right. wonder if that goes in like that. That'll do. That goes in like that. I'm going to set it for 43 degrees and I'm going to go ultrasonic blast now. Now, I left you in the garage and we just put the carburetor in the ultrasonic cleaner. Now that was 2 days ago now. It wasn't quite as easy as all that. You're led to believe when you buy one of these things that 15 minutes and you're done. I tried cleaning the carb in the cleaner for 15 minutes. Sadly, that didn't work, reassembled exactly the same problem. I tried it for another 15 minutes and again, exactly the same problem. I was about to give up. I was going out. So I disassembled the carb completely, put the whole lot in, and I put it in for, well, 2 sets of 99 minutes each. That's the maximum you can put it in for. I used a little bit of fairy washing up liquid just in the solution, and well, here we are on the water to test whether or not it works. I can save anyone any suspense. It does work. It's absolutely like brand new. So the question, if all you're after is, does an ultrasonic cleaner actually work? Yes, it does. As to what extent, that will depend on the solution you're using and the amount of time you put it in. If we go to the boat, you can see it idling. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to show you exactly why I think it is so imperative that you have low speed and idle on your outboard. I've always said it, you know, top speed, especially with these small motors, top speed isn't really anything to shout home about. But your idling and maneuvering, that's where the damage is invariably done. So that's why it's so key. Anyway, let's go to the boat. Okay guys, this is going to be a bit of an awkward one really. I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt, if the motor was hard to start, I wouldn't be able to do it like this. I'm not actually going to get in the boat, not because I'm not practicing safety, which I probably am not at this point, but underneath me here on the jetty there is a huge amount of goose poo. Goose, swan, any other kind of bird you can imagine. It's done its toilet all over this jetty and I'm reluctant to get in the boat with my goose poo shoes on. So with that, we're just going to do our best and show you the motor idling exactly here. There's no choke, it has obviously been started. I've got over here, I haven't launched from here. As I said, it worked well. Run it up in a barrel. No one really wants to see it running in a barrel, so let's give it a pull. Well now, I don't know whether you can hear me over the motor, but this is just ticking over really quite nicely. There's not a great deal more to it. I'm going to get up and move the camera now because it's on the jetty and I'm pretty sure it's going to fall. So we'll just leave that idling and then I'll show you why it is so important. Okay, so you may or may not be able to see right back there, there's the boat. And we'll set up the camera here and I'm just going to do a little bit of manoeuvring on idle in between these two jetties to show you what I mean. Okay, so trying to get into the boat gracefully, which we all know is nigh on impossible. With elegance like this, That's not really surprising. Boating seems to be a male-orientated sport. And guys, I know you can only see me in the distance there. Try a third picture here. It's just poo everywhere. Okay. Now this has got reverse. The trouble is when you put it in reverse, you have to swing the motor all the way around. That invariably is going to end up in the next problem of the pea stream hitting my leg, which we're going to try and avoid. But as you can see here, it's just chugging along nicely. And it means that you can come in really quite shallow. You can put the boat anywhere you want. I can swing it around here. Drop it right alongside the jetty there. I'm not going to get it too close because I just want to see really quite close, and you can get the end of it as close or as not close as you want. And with these, you may as well put it in reverse and forward again. Guys, I was wrong. The pea stream doesn't actually come in the boat. It's a very good design on these Suzukis. It's blocked by the transom. So actually, we may be able to I don't know how shallow we can. They're actually very good, these Suzukis. Now I'm being a tart. I could do with perhaps lowering the idle even more. You know, that's something I could do. But I think you get the idea. It's very easy to maneuver. I mean, there's only so much damage you're going to do with these anyway, but okay, so now we are where we want it, and I like to tie up the other way, and I'm really sat the wrong side for this. There we are, just kiss it. Oh, I've just pulled the kill cord off. Not ideal. Always in neutral when you start. There we go, and that is exactly where I want this. I could have sworn I said a second ago that I wanted it the other way around. However, such is life. This is not the way I foresaw my morning going. So guys, that is the boat and the motor idling just as it should. And it's a good day when things like this happen. Well guys, for some reason the audio kept cutting out then. I think it's interference from the outboard motor. It's just interfering with the something. I don't know what. Anyway, as you can see, being at idle means everything happens much slower. That's the crux of it. The slower your engine can perform, the slower your boat can. It just gives everyone more time. I hope you've seen that it obviously works. Ultrasonic cleaners do work. I'm absolutely chuffed. I was ready to throw the motor in the bin, to be honest. As I said before, I felt I couldn't sell it. Now, what's the future holding? Well, am I going to sell the motor? I might do. I might sell the 6 horsepower, the 4 horsepower, and the 2.5. The reason being is I want to use this further afield. This motor is fantastic right here on the lake, but I don't really come here very often. Like 6 horsepower ultra long shaft for the big boat. The short shaft works, the rear transom bracket that goes up and down, but even in moderate weather I would say the prop comes out of the water, and that concerns me a little bit, considering an auxiliary should be the motor you rely on. When all else fails, you've always got the auxiliary, and if it's not perfect, then that's something that I think I have to address. If I'm going for an ultra long shaft, it won't be suitable to use again on rubber duck here. If that's the case, I'd quite like to go as high power as I can. This will take a 20. I'm quite taken with the new Mercury EFI 20s, the 2019-2020 model. They perform really well, and what's really good about them is they're lightweight. At 41 kilos, it's actually manageable to put on the boat. You know, it is a heavy lump, don't get me wrong, but when the 6 horsepower weighs 26 kilograms, you can see that 41 isn't too big a stretch really to just lump it on the boat. These are all things for the future. I don't know whether it's going to happen, but now I'll just hop back in the boat, give you a little bit of footage as I merrily potter back, only at idle. I'm only going to go at idle. There's no point going any quicker than idle. In fairness with these, you don't really get an awful lot more speed between idle and full throttle. You produce a lot more wake, but not a lot more speed. You don't get on the plane. The idea being that the petrol coming through the idle jet that has now been cleaned will just, well, help keep it clean. If there is any debris in there, it'll flush it out. Now, this is important, and I've just remembered. If you are going to take your carb off, very easy. I'm sure you've seen another video of mine showing you how to do it. But the reason they clog up is 2 things. Leaving old fuel in the carb and not using it for a few months on end. It evaporates, it leaves the varnish, the additives that are put in the fuel, leaves that, and that clogs the jet. The second thing, and I've noticed with this, and again, a big thank you to you guys out there in the YouTube community. You've given me so many suggestions, but the petrol tank just, I didn't believe it. I had a comment on here, check your petrol tank, there's loads of bits. Well, he was right. There were loads of bits in the bottom of the petrol tank, so I discarded all that old fuel. I flushed it out with a hose pipe, let it dry over the 2 days, and then I just put the fresh fuel in. There is no fuel filter on these small motors, and the idle jets on the carb, it's built into the body of the carb, so there's no just taking it out or anything like that. So it really is key. Anyway, guys, again, thank you to all those who've made suggestions. It really is important. If you like or find anything helpful, please subscribe. I'm going to give a bit more back to the YouTube community now. It really has worked wonders for me. It saved me a lot of money replacing the motor, and besides, I've got to do something with the ultrasonic cleaner now. If you like what you see, give a thumbs up, a like, but yeah, hope to see you on the next video. Take care, guys, and happy boating. here we are back in the garage. The motor's now been flushed out. As you can see, it works really well. So until next time, bye for now.